Hello, everybody. Today we're going to be talking about a pretty interesting topic, specifically the top 10 monstrous fights in movies. This is guaranteed to be a fun ride, so sit back and enjoy the video. First up, taking the number 10 spot, we have Tyrannosaurus Rex vs. Indominus Rex from Jurassic World, a movie from 2015. Jurassic World is a 2015 American science fiction action film. It is the fourth installment of the Jurassic Park franchise and the first in the Jurassic World trilogy. Directed by Colin Trevorrow and written by Rick Jaffa and Amanda Silver, and produced by Frank Marshall and Patrick Crowley, the film stars Chris Pratt, Bryce Dallas Howard, Vincent D'Onofrio, Ty Simpkins, Nick Robinson, Omar Sy, B.D. Wong, and Irfan Khan. Set 22 years after the events of Jurassic Park, Jurassic World takes place on the same fictional island of Isla Nublar, located off the Pacific coast of Costa Rica. A successful theme park of cloned dinosaurs dubbed Jurassic World has operated on the island for years, bringing John Hammond's dream to fruition. The park plunges into chaos when a transgenic dinosaur escapes from its enclosure and goes on a rampage, while a group of trained velociraptors are utilized in neutralizing it. You'd think that humanity would have learned by now that cloning dinosaurs isn't the best idea. However, a new park opens in Jurassic World, and scientists cook up a new dino called the Indominus Rex. As the Indominus breaks loose and corners our heroes, Claire calls upon the most badass dinosaur that ever lived to save the day. That's right, the T-Rex. If that doesn't sound awesome enough, the filmmakers also throw a raptor into the mix for a little tag team action. The Indominus Rex bites the dust as the opportunistic Massasaurus sees dinner, restoring the national order. Next on our spot, number 9, we have Hulk vs. the Hulkbusters from Avengers Age of Ultron. Avengers Age of Ultron is a 2015 American superhero film based on the Marvel Comics superhero team, the Avengers. Produced by Marvel Studios and distributed by Walt Disney Studios Motion Pictures, it's the sequel to The Avengers from 2020 and the 11th film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. In the film, the Avengers fight Ultron, an artificial intelligence obsessed with causing human extinction. This cinematic battle pits technology against brute strength, with Tony Stark's Hulkbuster machine squaring off against everyone's favorite big green rage monster. While this fight is peppered with moments of levity, Tony telling the Hulk to go to sleep while repeatedly punching him in the face kinda comes to mind. It also showcases the destructive power the Hulk possesses. The fight devastates the city of Johannesburg, with Tony's best efforts to subdue the Hulk met at every turn with a vicious reaction from his out-of-control ally. This one was fun to watch, but horrible to imagine coming to fruition. Up next, Gamera vs. Iris, taking spot number 8. A giant monster fueled by a young girl's rage seeks to destroy Gamera. Now that the exposition is out of the way, let's get to what we really want to see. Two Mega-Titans taking each other on in a no-holds-barred brawl to the death. Because the title of the movie is Gamera, you could probably place your bets on who's going to win. Although Iris gets in some pretty good hits, Gamera is victorious with the old fiery fist technique and all of Japan rejoices. Until more monsters show up, that is. In spot number 7, we have yet another great movie cinematic, which is part of the fight between Valka's snowy Bewilderbeast and Drago's muddy Bewilderbeast. This is from How to Train Your Dragon 2, a sequel from 2014. The word alpha is used pretty freely throughout the rousing sequel, and the Bewilderbeasts are about as alpha as you can get. This whole sequence draws comparison to a fantasy epic, like The Lord of the Rings with the Bewilderbeasts at the center of everything. It's a battle between good and evil as the biggest of dragons compete for their allegiance of all dragonkind. While the two are almost equally matched, it's the one belonging to the cruel Drago Bloodfist that ultimately reigns supreme. Hiccup and his friends might have lost this battle, but the war is far from over. As we near the top 5, we have Gypsy Danger vs. Otachi coming in at number 6 from the film Pacific Rim. When his brother is killed in the clash with a kaiju known as Knifehead, Jaeger pilot Raleigh Beckett is paired with a new partner to fight giant monsters. For their first battle, Gypsy Danger battles a monstrous, acid-spitting, winged creature dubbed Otachi. The fight is about as grand and realistic as CGI can be, as we see the two foes destroy buildings, cars, and even a boat. Fortunately, when Gypsy Danger's pilot realizes the robots come fully equipped with a badass sword, the tables are turned and Otachi is halved mid-air. Hell yeah! Taking up the lovely spot in number 5, we have Godzilla vs. Monster X, and is one of the many amazing fights in the Godzilla movies. One of the most outlandish entries in the Godzilla franchise, Godzilla Final Wars, sees the king of monsters squaring off against multiple foes. However, his final fight with Monster X is undoubtedly the most intense. Monster X is a straight-up badass using martial arts and atomic blasts against Godzilla amidst the ruins of Tokyo. Just when it looks like Godzilla has defeated Monster X, it transforms into Kaiser Ghidorah. A series of vicious attacks leaves Godzilla weakened, but in the end, he finds a way to destroy his foe once and for all. Just like I said, we happen to have another amazing Godzilla featuring fight, which was Godzilla and Mothra versus King Ghidorah and Rodan coming in at number 4. For a monster fight that'll blow your socks off, look no further than 2019's Godzilla King of Monsters. The ending of this film sees Godzilla and Mothra going toe-to-toe with King Ghidorah and Rodan in a battle to decide the fate of the Titans. With 3 heads to contend with, Godzilla initially appears outmatched. However, with the help of Monarch and Mothra, who sacrifices herself to save her atomic pal, Godzilla emerges victorious. With stunning visuals and an impactful story, Godzilla King of Monsters proved that monster movies still have a place in the modern cinematic landscape. At spot number 3, things start getting pretty interesting, as are all of these crazy good fights with badass characters. Nevertheless, this fight is King Kong versus the T-Rex. Yep, from the original King Kong movie from 1933, probably oldest movie on our list today. On Skull Island, it's kill or be killed, since most of the population consists of giant monsters. That can be pretty entertaining as long as you're not a damsel in distress. In this scene, King Kong does battle with the most fearsome of dinosaurs, the T-Rex. Because it's 1933, the result is 2 stop-motion animated models throwing each other around, with King Kong using a classic judo flip. Then in a brutal KO move, he cracks T-Rex's jaws wide open. While Peter Jackson's updated version of the fight might be more thrilling by today's standards, this was pretty darn good for the 30s and is still fun to watch today. Once we tell you what's in spot number 2, you might be able to guess number 1 as well. Lo and behold, we have Earth Monsters versus King Ghidorah from the 1968 movie Destroy All Humans. The filmmakers here really knocked it out of the park when it came to the names. When the world decides it's had enough of cities getting demolished, they ship all their kaiju to the appropriately named Monsterland. All the usual suspects show up to trade punches, including of course Godzilla. Some aliens get involved and things get a bit wacky. But all the monsters must team up in the end to fight the dreaded King Ghidorah. It's like Toho's equivalent of the Avengers, resulting in one of the greatest giant monster fights of all time. Before we unveil our number 1 pick, let's go over some honorable mentions. George vs. Ralph vs. Lizzie in the 2018 film Rampage. 3 monsters for the price of 1. King Kong vs. Godzilla in the 1962 movie King Kong vs. Godzilla. The King of the Apes versus the King of the Monsters. Godzilla vs. Mega-Godzilla and Terror of Mega-Godzilla from 1975. A robot Godzilla? Yes please. And finally, in our number 1 spot, which we've all been dying to hear. From the Godzilla vs. Destoroyah movie of 1995, we have none other than the greatest monstrous fight of all time. When ancient organisms are gassed with an oxygen destroyer, a new monster is born. When will humans learn? This monster, aptly named Destoroyah, meets Godzilla's offspring, and the 2 have at it. Destoroyah comes out victorious, and Godzilla Sr. vows revenge. This is where the real fight begins. Although Destoroyah eventually grows bigger than the King of Monsters, that does not bother Godzilla. He uses his atomic breath to weaken Destoroyah, allowing the military to step in and take all the credit. Godzilla then quietly explodes, and his resurrected son continues the family legacy. It doesn't make a ton of sense, but man, was it a battle. And that's it for our list. Boy oh boy, I can visualize all these fights happening, and I sure want to go watch these movies right now. But before you go, help us out by subscribing and dropping a like so that we can continue to produce amazing content. Till then, goodbye!